So, my name is Jacques. I wanted to wear this outfit today, and my wife said no. I was going to wear that helmet. But I'm going to be your captain today on this journey, and I want to shout out real quick the Google team, the AV team, everyone that's here helping to put this on, and most importantly, all of you. You have flown in from Oklahoma City, New York, Colorado, Atlanta. Like I said, maybe 2 hours worth of traffic this morning. You are here. Thank you for doing that. So I'm gonna get us warmed up with a couple like brain teasers because it will make sense later. But I wanna ask you, with a show of hands, how many of you want to meet which of these two friends? I have a friend that's nice. They're there for me and they make me laugh. Looking at a lot of my friends in the audience. I have another friend who is kinder than Gandhi, has my back like it's his own, and is basically an amateur comedian. We have a professional one in the crowd. But which of these two you want to meet? Do you want to meet the first one, my friend that's nice? Anybody? Who wants to meet my second one, the one that's kinder than Gandhi? Okay, here's the thing. Only half of you put your hands up. So I need again, how many of you want to meet the first one? How many of you want to meet the second one? Here's the thing. They're the same friend. Whoa. Okay. Reason I'm pointing that out is like the words we use in our advertising, our marketing, everything we do matters. The specificity, how we do it, it makes all the difference. There's a difference between I might want to buy something or I'm skipping that. Next one. Which of these two products do you think sold more? Okay. Those of you that are on Team Screaming Eagle, hands up. Okay, those of you that are on Team Gray Boxers, hands up. Okay, here's the thing. If you said Gray Boxers, you were correct. Gray Boxers sell way more. But if you wanted to sell more Gray Boxers, should you have ads that feature Screaming Eagle or Gray Boxers? Okay, let me ask you a different question, and I think you'll help answer it. Which of these two photos of me are going to go more viral after today? This or this, right? This image is going to drive a lot more sales because it's going to drive interest to even go to the website. And so as you're going through and watching the videos and everything else I show today, this is just the general psychology that you have to be considering and thinking about, because truly it is the difference between, oops, YouTube didn't work, or wow, I made $1.5 billion. So I think we already did a little bit on the first one, but I want to say everyone in this room is in 3 of these different categories. And Connor is going to join me on stage in a bit and talk about some of these. But the bottom line is either we have never tried running YouTube ads ever, B, we treat it like a scary attic. I went up there once, didn't like what I saw, and I'm never going there again. Or you're profitably scaling, you're a believer, maybe even an evangelist, or honestly, like I've seen a lot of brands, they are not evangelists because they don't really want other people knowing, hey, it really works well. And so the biggest question that I see, and we're going to really be diving into today is, this is a little story I have, is there's a coffee shop called Bird Rock, and I walked in one day, and I asked them, hey, I buy your beans. I love your coffee here. I buy your beans. I bring them home. And every time I make it, it doesn't taste the same. Is it just because it's in a cool cup? Is it like psychological? And they go, well, do you use special remineralized water? Like, no. Do you use a burr grinder? No. Do you measure your beans and do the pour? No. And they're kind of looking at me and they're like, and you expect it to taste the same? And I was like, okay, all right. I get where you're coming from. There's a lot that goes into this, right? And so we're gonna look at what are those steps and ingredients. Brett said earlier, YouTube is not easy, but it is worth figuring out. That is 100%, it's like, I think about, is getting healthy easy? No. Is it worth it? Yes. I'm on my way, I'm still working on that. Also, another beautiful part of this is the lower cost per thousand, CPMs. We have brands that we're working with right now that are seeing 30, $40, $60, $70 CPMs, cost per thousand viewers on Meta, for example. You can get traffic for $5, $7, $10 on YouTube. Not only are you getting that kind of traffic on YouTube, half of you guys raise your hand, you're getting on television that you might be paying 2-3 times as much for in the first place. Like meaning, I mean, the number of times I've seen our ads running on TV and then realize like, oh, my son's just watching YouTube, insane. Also, let's look at the ages that use it. That's the other super crazy thing about YouTube, is that my mom and dad watch YouTube, my son watches YouTube, I watch YouTube. It is, I think, the only multi-generational channel out there. It is not a social media network. It is a content consumption place, and we're all using it, we're all watching it. And that's why, I'm just trying to say, that's why it's worth figuring out, 100%. So as we go through, we're gonna look at what are the 3 things, we were talking about, we use the term exit velocity. What are the things that kind of like, I always think about these rockets that escape the pool of gravity and they make it up into the stratosphere and they have these crazy results. And we're gonna go through all 3 of those. You know, I think the 2 things I wanna highlight, actually 3 things I wanna highlight from this slide is the 20 campaigns with over 10 million YouTube views. I believe we are the most successful creative agency in the country for making campaigns that can also win on YouTube. Only about maybe 20% of our work is for YouTube. So I want to be very clear, it's like, not like YouTube is its only thing, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But in order to win on YouTube, you have to have certain types of creative, and they can lead to very real sales. I added my own GIFs to these, I'm not gonna lie. That's also new, and I'm having fun with it. But I wanted to say that what's crazy, the backstory on this, is when Dr. Squatch first launched their very first ad ever that was the long form, it went on Meta, it lived a life, it came to a slowing end. That could have been the end of, I mean, it was already a beautiful like beginning, but it could have been the end of everything. And all of a sudden, this little sunglass brand, we were working with William Painter, started ripping on YouTube. And I remember asking him, where are you learning that this is working on YouTube? What's going on? And they're like, you know, we found a course online and it's really working for us. Well, guess who made that course? Brett Curry, the guy that just spoke to you. So what happened was the owner of Dr. Squatch, Jacques, jumped on, took the course, started buying. The rest is history. It grew by hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, what if that creative never hit YouTube? Crazy thought. Also, we got Groons in the house. I don't know, I think Connor might have had to step out for take a call or something, but Groons in the house, what was cool was we had this amazing experience with Dr. Squatch, and we're like, it'd be really cool if the next time an opportunity came around, if we could be there from the beginning, invest in one of these brands. And so we were one of the first investors in Groons, helped them to launch everything they did, and the result was, has been fantastic. It's really exciting, and I'll show you a little bit of the creative. I couldn't figure out where to put the GIF, so I just made it really big in the middle there. That's the Shaq shimmy. Okay. Also, later we'll have Sean. Met Sean. He's the co-creator of Beast Games. I'll introduce him later, but I met him when we went out. He had us come out to North Carolina to be part of the relaunch of Feastables. We worked together on that, and I'm proud to say that our video we created together, I paid a lie detector to investigate my friends, is the #1 video all time on Mr. Beast Channel 2. He has multiple channels, and it was a ton of fun, so check that out later. A lot of great partners. Honestly, we have so many people. It's one of those things where like, if you're not on here, it's not because we don't love you, because there's too many, I can't even keep them up to date. But the bottom line is when you are looking at what are we doing on YouTube, why will this fail? I want to just explain from the beginning, out of the box, YouTube is not set up for you, okay? Everyone here, like, I love you, YouTube. You're not set up for the people here. Why? Because who spends all the money, right? Amazon, Apple, Nike, Procter & Gamble, LVMH, Toyota, Disney. Like, they are spending hundreds of millions. So the whole platform is based around them. I mean, honestly, like, kind of as it should be. So what happens is that we have best practices. Well, the best practices are going to be taught to the median. They're going to be taught to, well, this is what Disney's doing. This is what Nike's doing. Yeah, that's cool. They have 100% brand awareness. They don't have to convince anyone who they are. They don't have to do anything. They can just make beautiful things and hope one day you're going to buy some more shoes. They also are just chasing low CPMs. So I remember getting a report back from one of our clients one time, and their core demo was like, women over 30. And they're like, wow, we got such low CPMs for men 18 to 22. I was like, what? Like, they were so proud of the fact that they were getting these really low CPMs for like an audience. I'm like, that's not even your audience. They'll also say, how many of you have heard like, you gotta have the brand the first couple seconds or you're wasting your money? I just wanna see a show of hands. Like, that is the number one thing. I'm gonna tell you today, literally no one in the world knows this, so I'm just gonna share it with you guys. Like, what is too early and what is too late to introduce your brand? And 2 seconds will kill your commercial. Kill your commercial. And then we're gonna talk about what should be including and excluding in your audience. Okay, so I'm not gonna make you raise your hand, but I want you to just think, if you want your ads to scale, how long should they be? Now by scale, I mean be able to profitably spend behind them so you can keep spending, so you can keep selling. 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, okay? That's the question. So what we find is that the best way to build brand, if you're like 100% retail, I would say you should buy a bunch of 6 and 15 second spots, unskippable. By all means, you should do that. It is a great way to reach people at velocity over and over again. But if you want to sell things to people in real time, 1 to 4 minutes. I'll explain why. This made me very happy. I Googled, what's the most ideal length for a YouTube ad? It says, skippable in-stream ads, the length of 60 to 90 seconds. All right, so that's progress. There we go. Even Google knows. We got to be a little bit longer. So one of the reasons that I think we've seen the success is a lot of times I'll show someone one of our ads and they're like, damn, that's kind of long. It's like usually like the number one thing I get. And I'm like, yeah, but the reality is you don't need, if you show it to 1,000 people, you don't need 900 to watch it the whole way. What if just like 5% watch it? It's 50 people watching a 2-3 minute ads, learning about who you are. So we'll get a little bit into that. But what we started realizing is people don't have short attention spans. They have short consideration spans. It's a fundamental disconnect. And Sean, with Beast Games, we're gonna talk a little bit about that later as well. So this is what I said earlier. Which one of these is the average watch time that, or the average amount of time before we have introduced a brand in some of our top performing campaigns ever? 1 to 6 seconds, 7 to 12, 13 to 19, 20 to 25. So I went through just manually. I just had this question one day. I wonder, you go through it, there's 20 of these ads, there's, but what is it? It's 19 to 13 seconds. Sorry, 13 to 19 seconds. Now here's why that matters. Here's why this matters. It's not that nothing ever worked in the 6 and up to 12 second, but our best performing had this sweet spot. And then we also found anything after 20 seconds is almost just a deal breaker. It's actually the number one mistake I see people making with their YouTube ads is they have these like incredible introductions and then it takes them 30, 40 seconds to introduce the brand. And if your average watch time is not quite there, it just doesn't work. It's like people want to know at some point, what the heck am I watching and why? But you need to like give them a reason to follow along and watch. I'm always inspired by things like this. This is a quote from 1923, before television, like really before the rise of radio, no internet. Claude Hopkins says, the more you tell, the more you sell, and it has never failed in any test we know. An ad with twice the copy brings twice the returns. He's talking about direct response sort of ads in newspapers. This is also a quote, again, before the advent of the internet. General response advertisers use 30-second commercials, but the direct response fraternity have learned that it is more profitable to use 2-minute commercials. I'm convinced that if all advertisers were to follow the example of their direct response brethren, they would get more sales per dollar. That's Ogilvy. So why, psychologically, does a 1 to 4 minute ad work? this might be the more important portion of what I'm selling here. So one is the connection with the brand. Like, let's say you're on TikTok shop, you're swiping, someone's like, oh my God, I love this remote, I'm obsessed. And you're like, okay, I'll click on it, right? Well, what do you know now? You know that, oh, she's obsessed and like it works. When someone watches something for 2-3 minutes, it becomes a part of their narrative and their journey. It's like, I can guarantee you, we've seen with a couple brands, just the lifetime value of the customers that come from YouTube are gonna be so much higher because people are so highly educated. Just the idea of spending time with the brand matters. I don't know about you guys, but the more time I spend with somebody, the closer I feel to them, the more endeared I am to them, and brands are a relationship like that. And so YouTube's kind of a sneaky way to supercharge that, even in a first interaction. Like all of a sudden, wow, I just spent 2 minutes, 3 minutes with this brand that I'd never heard of. It can really quicken the pace of understanding the brand. And the final thing I didn't have here is it actually commits people. There's think of it like your time, it's like, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. Like the longer you spend with an ad, by the time you get done with it, you're like, well, clearly I'm interested. I mean, just by being here this long, I should take some action. Yes?
I have a question, and I was discussing YouTube.
Yeah.
We can't run meta ads that are over a minute, so what would we do on that?
You're saying you can run meta ads that are, or you can't?
You can't that are over a minute.
You can run ads that are longer on meta than a minute.
On Instagram?
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a meta expert. I just know we're running ads that are longer than that. Maybe it's in the reels or something like that. Yeah. So, but yes, there's placements that are longer than that. Yeah. Yep. Great question. And I'll get to that in a little bit. The longer form ads we have seen are a YouTube specific piece. We have from that we create cut downs for Meta, like 15, 30, 60 seconds. We do have 1 or 2 campaigns right now that are scaling that are longer form on Meta, and I have some sneaky suspicions why, and I'll share with you today why. Okay, so the 3 mistakes people make the most are they want to focus on what they want to say more than what people will actually hear. They forget the context in which the ad's going to be viewed, and they have the wrong storytelling formula. So we're going to go through it, we're going to see it, and then I'm going to show you some examples of what is working right now. So I'm going to go ahead and go here. Okay, so the first question I get pretty much all the time. Do I have to be funny to sell on YouTube? No, but it has to be entertaining. Why are people on YouTube? They're there to be entertained. I always say, take YouTube out of the picture. Why are you on the internet? I'm there to laugh, to be inspired, or to learn something. That's it. I'm gonna hold questions only because that way I won't get through it. Yeah, but it has to be entertaining. I always share this slide because I'm like, go to the top videos on YouTube. What the heck are people watching? Makeup tutorials, product reviews, prank shows, animal videos, reality television clips. This is the sea that you are in. So if you're taking your ad and you're like, well, this is what we want to say, let's trot it out there. It's like, no. You got to think like the medium that you're in. So you have to be entertaining. It's just a fundamental piece to this. I think the other thing that's been very confusing is that as human beings, we have told stories the same way literally since the beginning of time. It's a traditional story arc, but like everything. I mean, I'm talking pretty much every book you've ever read, every TV show, every story you've heard. It has this sort of, I'm thinking about even like the Bible and others, like every story has this sort of hero's journey arc to it, right? This idea that you have this like contextual lead in, it builds up, you move towards some sort of climax, and then there's some sort of resolution. And it still very much is potentially something you can do in like a 30-second commercial where, people can't skip it. But just in general, how we are hardwired, that's the storytelling formula that we've been using. This is the digital story arc. This is the way that we have to structure what we do in order to even have a shot at selling something. We have to start, everyone says hi, like a hook, and I think more than anything, it's like we have to give people a reason to say, okay, this is interesting to me. What's even more fascinating to me is if we do our job really well, we can make something so interesting that even if you're not the core audience, you spend enough time with it that you'll forward it to the right person. I'm gonna say that one more time, because that's a crazy thought. If you make something good enough, like we have a glucose sensor that we've been working with, and I'm like, not everyone has glucose, but diabetes, but a lot of people know someone with diabetes. Well, if you make the ad interesting enough that you spend 20 seconds enough with the ad to be like, you know what, I gotta send this to someone with diabetes. That was a funny commercial. That was interesting. You get my point. You might not have diabetes, but if you make something interesting enough, you can start with this high problem statement. You can introduce your brand and solution, and it's so important. Like, I mean, when I think about the content I audit, usually the mistakes happen where they introduce the brand too late. They feel like, oh, I have this cool hook, and the rest will just take care of itself. It's like, no, you got to earn every 10 seconds, and we'll go over that in a second.
We really had our hands.
I want to clear the palette. I'm going to show you, now I brought a lot of videos today for you to check out. I don't know if I'll be able to show them all, but what I want to say before I show them to you is that my favorite thing, I was like so excited about today, is that about half of the examples we have in here are from people that were literally sitting exactly where you were and went, you know what, I should do this. I should figure it out. And they did, and now they're their case studies, right? Like within the last 2 years. This is not stuff I'm bringing from like a decade ago, 5 years ago. It's very relevant, fresh stuff, which is really cool. But I want you to feel it. Like I don't want to just show it, I want to feel it. I want to show you an ad from one of the biggest advertisers in the world who spent way more money on this ad than we did. And I want you to feel it, I want you to think about it, and then we'll go to the next. There's no trick question here.
We really had our hands full with our 2-year-old.
Yeah, so naturally, we doubled down with the new puppy.
Sure, they're twice as cute together, but now we've got double the stains.
And double the odors.
Thankfully, we also have Tide Ultra Oxy with odor eliminators.
It can handle double trouble because it's the #1 stain fighter.
And the #1 odor remover.
I thought you guys were out things.
For the #1 stain fighter and odor remover, it's got to be Tide.
That's a great pair of boxers. I'm just being honest, it's a great pair of boxers. Like, I want you to genuinely search your heart when I ask you this. How many of you will remember that ad if I didn't point it out? You just saw it. How many of you would remember it 3 months from now or a year from now? Nobody, right? I'm gonna show you another ad for another detergent brand. And I want you to think about how long this might linger with you.
Unfortunately, it's really good.
My life was simple, predictable, routine. My boyfriend wanted to try it. Said he saw it on the internet. I should have known.
And it's ruined everything else for me.
When I started using.
From the second I started using laundry sauce, the world's best smelling laundry pods, lost my girlfriend, got 4 new ones.
I lost my job in middle management. They made me CEO. So much power.
People just can't get enough of this Indonesian patchouli.
French saffron.
Australian sandalwood.
Egyptian rose.
Siberian pine.
And other smells have become meaningless.
Get out of my life, you beautiful smelling pod!
I never used to think about laundry.
It was just a boring chore.
Now I can't stop.
If you value your alone time,
If you want your life to stay exactly like it is and never change or get better,
If you want your laundry day to stay boring,
If you want your laundry and your life to smell average,
If you don't want to feel like a literal movie star every time you do laundry,
don't go to laundrysauce.com.
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 So reason I'm showing that is I'm like, you know, we work with a ton of challenger brands. And I mean, I think the Bain & Company list came out last year, and I think we work with like 40% of them. It was something nuts, like the most insurgent brands. It's like you were going up, most of us are going up against the tides, right? So how do you beat them? They got more money than you, right? You got to make something that just punches harder, that allows people to convert in real time, challenges them to go to the site. That you know, you can feel it even in the CTA. It's like if you made it that far, you're going to go to the website. You're going to go. Now, There are 3 other formulas. In fact, maybe next time I come, I will unpack examples of every single one of these. There are other formulas that are more, like actually I don't even need to, I can just tell you. The product demo, that was the one Brett showed you with the Arctic cooler where they were like doing stuff and it was like, oh wow, like, you know, you're immediately seeing the product in a heroic action. It's really interesting. You know, the straight explainer video, there's a Henson shaving company. They've run ads for years. So is like Smile. Is it called Smile? It's a high Smile. You put like purple stuff on your teeth and all that. It starts out like it's a mix of product demo, explainer, really straight, and then also I've seen people do straight offer. Like I've seen people like Vincero watches who are like, hey, have you ever wanted a $200 watch that looks like a $1,000 watch? Like those are hooks and things that also work. So I guess I don't need to bring more examples. We just went through all 3. So I really want to couch this in the fact that like most people just want to write a script or they want to say, well, this is what we want to say, let's go make this. And I'm like, well, we spend a ton of time concepting, meaning we're trying to think, how are we going to make something worth watching before we write a single word of anything? Like that's the order. It's like, what do people want to watch? Now, how do we say it? What do we want to say? Can't wait to have Sean up later because I know that's what he does for a living. Okay, so these are a really couple quick things that I want you to pay attention to because I'm going to show you some examples. Before each one, I'm going to point out like what makes them unique, why I think they won, why they win. But know, like I said earlier, every 10 seconds only gets you 10 more seconds. Pretty much everything you see here I don't think you'll see many cuts longer than like 4 to 5 seconds. You know, things move, things are interesting. We're trying to shake people out of their mindsets. You're going to see that over and over again. Connection. You'll see a lot of shots on face. In fact, you'll see another version here, which is one of our current winners. It's more voiceover driven, but then there's a person talking to camera like every 12 seconds or so. And you'll see this rhythm where people connect with people, and it really works. Also, simple language. 6th grade reading levels, you can use emojis. So these are all things that connection really matters, and we're not trying to like talk over our audience, but really be part of their experience. Validation. So I will say, you will not see these in examples I bring today because all the validation happens usually for us after about 90 seconds in. So people are there, we start doing like some what we call objection busting, and then we bring in things like real testimonials, whatever else. So you'll have to watch the longer form versions to kind of get a sense of that. And then finally, emotion. So one of the things that I think about a lot is, have you ever read the book or heard the book, Never Split the Difference? It's a book about negotiation. And one of my favorite parts of that book was he was talking about there is a study that was done on people who have a part of their brain that either is injured or doesn't work quite right on experiencing emotions. And one of the things he says is that what's fascinating about people is they can logically tell you the decisions they should make. They have a hard time making a decision. And I realized that all the logic's great. It's like gas, but you need a spark. You need something that makes people go, okay, I'm gonna try this. And I'll make it real simple. It's either a reflection of who they believe they are today or who they want to become. That's it. Like, what's the spark that gets them thinking, oh, this could make my life a little better. Oh, that is who I am. That's great. I wanna be part of this. So let's break down some of the ads. How are we doing on time? We're doing good. What I'll say is, this is kind of like, I remember when I was growing up, they wheeled out Bill Nye the Science Guy, and it was like, hey, here's class for the day. I don't want that to be this. There is a lot of videos that we're gonna go through, but I think that the best way to learn it is not just to have me say, hey, this can work. I want you to feel it. I want you to experience it. And ask yourself, how can I apply this to what my brand's doing? And I brought a lot of different examples. In fact, one of the first ones is a Works power tool. Because I get a lot of questions like, hey, I know that you did this for soap and for this, but like, can you do it for like hard goods? Can you do it for, something that you can't just ingest and eat and rely on LTV? Well, we sold a heck of a lot of sunglasses, And we sold a heck of a lot of power tools. And this is a really great example because it starts with their why. I want you to feel her opening hook is chef's kiss good. It also introduces a problem and solution, and it compares what they're currently doing to a new way of doing it. I'm just gonna show you like the first 50 seconds of any of these pieces, so let's check it out.
Do you want a perfect lawn? Does a sloppy yard make you want to just... Me too. Yard work is hard work, but it doesn't have to be. This is the GT Revolution. A 3-in-1 trimmer, edger, and mini mower that makes yard perfection easy. Your old grass trimmer doesn't cut it.
This sucks, and I'm gray.
Of course you are. Your tools are outdated and awkward while you're trying to be efficient and precise. But the GT is lightweight and powerful, like a pillow that knows karate. It's so light and easy, even my Nana can use it.
I came to cut grass and chew bubble gum. And I'm all out of bubble gum.
Oh my gosh. I mean, what I love about that is the lightweightness of the product, the precision of the product. I mean, you were now watching a weed whacker, I guess. It's a 3-in-1. So I don't want to call it just a weed whacker. But you're watching a 3-in-1 mini mower. You had no intention. You were there to watch something totally different. And you find yourself laughing, learning. We call it edutainment along the way. I also want to show this because it's funny. As I was preparing for this talk today, I was thinking, how do I put this? You know when you experience success in something and then you ask yourself, like, why didn't I just do that again and again? Like, why did I move on to the next thing? I'm like, why are we not making more ads like this? Because this ad friggin' ripped. It did, I don't even know, 500 million, maybe even 1 billion views. It was the highest true view ad of 2020, which if you remember 2020, was the most crazy period of e-commerce in history. So it might be the best performing ad of all time on YouTube. It certainly grew the company. We ended up doing a Super Bowl commercial shortly after this ran for like 9 months. So it did a lot of damage. What I want you to feel though is that this is pieces and clips from other ads. Like this was just a rechefing of like, we had other ads, some of them had done okay, some of them had done great, with all of these other moments that were like very, we call them like person on the street, very like organic. And so you'll feel this like rhythm, almost like a dance between high production and funny, learning along the way. This whole piece is 5 minutes long. So if you want to check it out, but I'm gonna play you the first minute, really fun. And I want you to feel the like authenticity of like how it makes you feel like, oh, it's a real company.
You're not a dish. You're a man. Most name brand bars and body washes you rub on your skin are classified by the FDA as synthetic detergent. It's not even real soap. Start treating your body to the natural, nourishing, lathery goodness of Dr. Squatch soap. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive.
That smells really good. It smells like my guy's cologne.
Okay.
It smells really good, yeah. Really
good?
sexy. Oh, that smells really good.
I would use it, but like, if a guy smelled like that too, I'd be like, oh.
If my man was wearing this, I would be all over him.
It's natural. It's kind of like being in a forest.
I would use this on myself.
Way better than like the regular store-bought soap.
I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men.
What's crazy? Yeah. I love it. Thank James. God, you deserve that. That was great. I just want to say what's even crazier to me is like that whole the arm wrestling scene, everything else was cutting room floor stuff. It never made its way into any ad. It was just like random stuff that just never made an ad. We were able to repurpose it and use it to like the parts of that were greater than the sum. And I'm like, why have we mixed more of our person on the street UGC style stuff with our high production stuff to this date? I don't know, but we're going to start doing more of it because man, that was great. Also, I want to give you a sense of like, I think a lot of people, again, they ask, can you do it for this? I think a lot of other people are like, I want to protect my brand. I'm worried about how it will feel. Like, can you do it in a way that's like clever without, being too funny? I don't want to make ball jokes. Like, I would say that because we work with worked with Dr. Squatch and Dude Wipes, and you get my point. And so this is a great example of something that was like, it really hits on a problem people are experiencing, but it really showcases the brand in a great way. In a way that not only will people buy it for themselves, but they'll gift it to other people. I think about that a lot with laundry sauce. I'm like, people are like, their Q4s or Black Fridays are insane. I'm like, people are buying laundry products for their loved ones and themselves. Like, that's kind of crazy, but that's what you can do when you build like the right brand. And so we had to be this is like a needle thread. We didn't want to be seen as a knockoff. These scents, Dossier makes these scents that are inspired by some of the top, parfumiers and everything else. And so it's like, how do we build confidence without making it feel cheap, make it feel like a knockoff? How do we make people feel smart? And that's what I want you to feel when we watch this.
Sick of designer brands keeping your favorite scents out of reach?
Oh, darling, that scent was just made for you. At least a richer version of you.
You deserve better. This is Dossier. Luxury quality scents at a price you can afford. Because guess what? Fragrance can't be patented. So your favorite scent doesn't belong to a brand. With Dossier, it belongs to you. For the cost of a single bottle of this designer brand, you can get all this. We've got over a dozen different scent categories for men and women. From posh aquatic to floral palettes to luscious woodsy aromas. All inspired by the iconic scents you know and love. By brands like Chanel, Creed, Tom Ford, and so many more. We dare you to smell the difference.
Right? Super fun. We just compared ourselves at $29 to something at $500. Made you feel pretty smart about checking out something new. All right, so this is one of the groups that had been in the crowd, started leaning in, doing some work with us. Love how this turned out. And what we'll show you too is, I think in this day and age, what's cool about making something that is longer form in nature, that is highly entertaining, is it allows you to be omni-channel with it. This is content that gets used for CTV and television ads. It gets used for meta ads. It gets used at times for some TikTok ads, but really those channels aren't as high production value. But this is content that can power so many different channels. And so what you're gonna feel is like if you own a cat, if you own a cat, you're gonna be drawn into this storyline. So important. We also have like this very clinical, we're talking about litter. I think that's one of the things. It's like, how do you talk about litter in a way that's not gross, because it's gross? How do we do this in a way that's fun, keeps you motivated, and makes you want to buy? So I'm gonna show again the first couple seconds of this, and we'll talk about some of the outcomes.
For moi,
Claude, you can talk?
I've always had the gift of gab, Nancy, but now you can understand. With Pretty Litter, the odor-neutralizing, long-lasting, health-indicating kitty litter that's simply the most luxurious way to bury my poopies and my peepees. Nancy, please, you mustn't watch.
It's like I can finally understand my cat.
Yes, now we see eye to weird, round pupiled eye.
Pretty Litter's fresh approach has transformed our space. I can finally have guests over again.
Ugh, but must we? Ooh, the crystals trap odor and absorb moisture, which brings us to the Pou de Gras.
I only have to scoop the poop and mix the rest, which makes it last up to twice as long as clumping clay. Pretty Litter was developed with veterinarians.
I'm not going to the fucking vet, Nancy!
It helps me monitor potential health problems just by changing color.
Are you saying that now I pee rainbows? Toby's the link for the only litter you want to look at.
Super fun, super fun. That F the vet line gets me every time. So here's where it gets even more exciting, right? Is again, we created this campaign. We created a lot of variations that we could start running on television. iSpot, which is I don't know exactly how to describe it, but they do all sorts of TV, services, analytics. They put out a case study, and the 30-second variation of this was in the top 1% of all ads created last year. And it dominated the category. So this is all of the top other ads from competitors, Hill Science, Arm & Hammer, Fresh Step, right? And then if you read the case study, they go on and explain, like, the number one thing they're looking for is, are people engaged? Are they interested in making a change, right? What's crazy is that all 3 variations beat out every single other ad in the space. And they go on to explain it. Essentially, it is edutainment. It's more memorable, it's more interesting, and it makes people want to make a change. All right, I'm glad someone asked about the meta question earlier, because the truth is that long form is not typically something that is like a meta forward thing. And we never sell it that way. We're like, it's a piece of the overall funnel. It can perform well, but the reality is there's a reason you're putting 400 ads into your Meta account a month, as I heard earlier. And so what's great about this is that this is something that is working right now on Meta. And my hypothesis is because everything else you've seen has been very person to camera driven. This is voiceover driven with those pattern interrupts. Pattern interrupts are incredibly important. It's the grandma chewing bubble gum moment. It's the I'm not going to the fucking vent, Nancy. Like, those moments are so critical, because if you're just like lulled into a rhythm, you have to have this like little jolt of interest, dopamine, like keep you on your toes. And so you're gonna feel that throughout this. Let me see, what else is there? I think the other breakthrough for this was when we leaned into it, it was like we were trying to figure out, it was actually a relaunch of this product. They launched it. It didn't go according to how they wanted. It just wasn't working. They came to us, we retooled, what's this messaging? And what we started realizing is they have a product that's tasteless. That in and of itself is enough to spark curiosity. Be like, you know what? I'm down to try that. But the other thing that you'll see is that we'll see how many use cases there are. This is a really important thing to point out. A lot of people just assume that people will know how to use the product, or that they'll understand where it fits in their life. I think most people, up until we started doing this, was like, oh, I could add it to my coffee. Well, we started explaining how many ways you can use the product, and that inspires people to do it for themselves. So let's go ahead and, the final thing I put here, which I loved, was I said, we're selling nutrition, Trojan horse, and the foods you love. There's some food porn in here. Just avert your eyes. Chris's face. But there is. It's a term. You'll see why here in a second.
This is the world's first protein that tastes completely and utterly like
nothing.
Welcome to For All Nutrition, the world's first mixable, shakeable, blendable, bakeable whey protein that tastes like
nothing.
Nailed it. See, when we were developing For All, we realized that a lot of whey proteins taste like
something.
We thought the best way to help everyone get their daily protein might just be
nothing.
We started with the cleanest European grass-fed whey protein, and that's it, because we knew better than to include the additives and fillers other brands use. Turns out, purity tastes a lot like
nothing.
So you can add 25 grams of protein to just about anything without ruining your vibe or your recipe. The secret ingredient is that there are no secret ingredients. Just kidding, it's love. The secret ingredient is love. Sorry, Noni. Simply mix it, shake it, blend it, or bake it in. And For All makes it easy to get your ooey, your gooey, your spicy, your saucy, your creamy, your steamy, your sweets, your treats, all protein-packed and delicious. It's truly nutrition for all. For All is so pure that we've even made the world's first protein water. And guess what? It tastes just like
water.
Because why have just water when you can have protein water? Click the link to discover how deliciously flavorless nutrition can.
Okay, the ad goes on from there, talk about how they do it, where it comes from, all the things, right? And so the other thing I should have pointed out before that too is all of this kind of points towards purity. And this is where we get to. It's like, okay, there's no flavor, it's flavorless, why? It points to a sense of purity. Again, doing very well, not just on YouTube, but Meta as well. You could probably feel it was a little bit different, but you could feel those pattern interrupts. Okay, how are we doing on time? Okay, I gotta hustle through 2 more things here. So I think another important thing, a lot of the things that we either start with a challenge, or a lot of times we'll start with empathy. especially with the female demographic. We find that empathy and connection and like something that people are experiencing is really, really relevant. So I want to show you this, and I want to show you too, if this whole ad took place in a kitchen, it wouldn't have worked. It needed this like sense of transportation, a sense of world building, and I want you to feel that as we go through this.
Getting all your daily nutrients is hard work, but nutrition gaps in your diet are inevitable. But there's an easier way to fill them. Meet Grunes. Gruns. The snackable, packable wellness gummy that packs the comprehensive nutrition you need into this guy right here. Grunes loads a complete serving of fruits, veggies, adaptogens, vitamins, minerals, super mushrooms, prebiotics, and antioxidants like organic kale, spirulina, broccoli, beet, lemon, apple, tomato, blueberry, shiitake mushroom, strawberries, and more in every pack.
So I can snack on these instead of all of this?
Yep.
But how did Grunes
get everything you need in here and make it taste delicious?
My hypothesis? The real fruit flavor is what makes these little bears also delicious.
All right. Super fun. And also, it was a really great way to showcase all of the organic products that go into creating the product itself. I'm going to just show the very beginning of this, because I think it's very interesting. Every once in a while, we get a client that calls us, and we're talking, and they go, "You could do this for anything." I'm like, "Yeah, they do it for water. It's called liquid death." Like, what do you mean? You can do it for anything? You're like, "Yeah, you can do it for anything." He's like, "Yeah, but we're in a really highly regulated thing. We help people with diabetes, but you know what? I bet you guys could do it." I'm like, "You know what? I bet we could." And so we did it. It's super fun. I'm going to show you the beginning of it with Omnipod 5. What's cool is not only was it their best performing campaign of last year by a mile, but the cut down, even the 15-second cut downs of this was something that they ran on linear like crazy. They ran it in the World Series. They've gone international with this campaign. They're doubling and tripling down. It's incredibly exciting. And I want you to just feel, it's like, yeah, it's interesting. It breaks through the noise. And the other thing is cool is all the people that are acting in it are real users. So I was like, we didn't have to say like, with an actor. It's like everyone's an actual user of the product. If you watch it later online, it does also one of the best jobs of objection busting of any ad we've ever done. It's like, well, it has to be expensive. Oh, it must hurt. What about water? Is it waterproof? It just goes through every single thing.
Nobody likes a prick.
Ow! Ow.
Meet Omnipod 5, the only tubeless automated insulin delivery system on the market for people with type 1 and type 2 diabetes. So you can say bye-bye to multiple daily insulin injections and hello, you tubeless delight. No more snagging. No more tangling. For tube's sakes. And no more disconnecting.
1 second. I'm just gonna detube.
Omnipod 5 helps make diabetes smaller, so life can get bigger. Just connect the Omnipod 5.
Okay, I'm not gonna watch it from that. I will say, one of my favorite clips is watching a room full of people in the industry watch this ad. It was like, 10 times the size of this, and the detubing thing, like, I couldn't even hear the ad anymore. People were freaking out. It's like, who does that? It was super well done, really, really memorable. So, okay, so this is earlier, it's like, we can have all the right creative. I kid you not, probably, I would say half of those campaigns that were, judged as dead on arrival, or we tried to run them and we turned it off or whatever, it ended up being like, once it got in the right media buying hands with the right expectations, it went on to sell tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Like it's that big of a myth that people have when it comes to like, how does YouTube work? What should I expect? And Brett went through it, but it's like you have to have something like a Northbeam. You have to. Like, you have to have something that's tracking it. You have to have post-purchase surveys. Branded search lift is also one of the most interesting things, we track and see. It's like, it was a good example with the search lift of Amazon, the branded search lift that happens there with the Opopop. We have worked with brands where the media buying teams turned it off, And we're like, okay, well, what was going on with the branded search lift? And you could just see like when they were scaling YouTube, and then when it was off, people legitimately might have an incredible winner on their hands and have no idea. And so this is some of the things that you got to keep in mind. The click-through rates are going to look abysmal. People don't click on the ads. They go to the website, they open up things. Something I think we're going to see more and more of in these ads is QR codes, because people are watching it on TV. I think you can, I've seen some brands do some really strong like offers to drive people directly, but bottom line is it's always going to look worse if you're comparing it, but it doesn't mean, as Brett went over earlier, that it's not working. This is a good example of just watching the lift of like the views and conversions. You can just see that branded search lift. Like, tell me if you can see from this chart when YouTube started running, right? Like, the problem is that people are looking at their dashboards and they're like, oh, it has a 0.6 ROAS. I'm just going to turn this off. It's terrible. Post-purchase survey data also has been huge, because just percentage-wise, it's kind of like, the reason I had that picture up is you have to look at the entire picture. Ultimately, what we find is that when you have some of these like benchmarks, you can say, okay, is this actually working? I've talked to brands who say, our in-platform number that we're trying to look at is, I give myself a 70% higher CAC window, or even a double, like twice the CAC window. So if I'm expecting if I need a 1.6 on Meta, then I'm asking for a 0.8 potentially. So that's how big of a gap. That's why so many people turn it off, and it could be your next huge channel that you're spending a ton on. I wanted to show this as a final exam, which is, so we created a bunch of campaigns for a brand. We sent them a bunch of 90-second versions, a bunch of cut downs, 60s, 30s, 15s, okay? I can't even tell you how many times something like this happens. We sent it to their media buying team. This is the email I got back. In fact, if you can get this right, I have a little goodie bag here with some magic mind. So that's gonna get you like real focused. I didn't realize you already had some groons. I have some groons too. So I got some stuff in here that will get you well and get you ready. I want you to, so this was what, literally this is the email, I blocked it out. It's funny because I was trying to get him here today. Not to be mean to him, but he sent me this email. Hey Jacques, here's what the team sent over. Any thoughts? So I'm looking at it. Overall, the highest click-through rates of all were the inclusive of both 15 and 50-second videos, the 30-second videos resonating. Okay. I was like, all right. So I emailed back, and I'm like, so how are the 60s and 90s doing? No, they're not running them. Like, why? Like, well, people don't watch ads like that. They just want the 15s and 30s. I kid you, and this is like 4 or 5 times in my career that like ads that went on to be total winners got that response. I was talking to someone right before this, and they were like, oh, our agency says that doesn't work anymore. That's the old, they don't work anymore. Okay, half the case studies are from the last year, right? So the thing I said was, if your media buyer is saying it won't work because, instead of it can work if we try blank, please pay attention to that. It is critical, because you could be sitting on something really special. Okay, I'm gonna show one final video, which is like, this is the easiest way to get started. It can feel really daunting to look at these like high production pieces. Oh, that's the only way to get started. It's not the only way to get started. I'm gonna show you 2 examples of how you can get started. Brett already showed a couple. Split screen UGC.
Use laundry soap.
Whoop. Let me go back real quick. Split screen UGC, you already have it. Check out how we use on one side UGC, on the other things happening. It just really helps to fill out the screen and make it
These
more
laundry sauce pods make my clothes smell like heaven. I'm in heaven. I used to hate doing laundry until I tried laundry sauce pods. Laundry sauce is the only laundry detergent.
Okay. Also, you can do this with a mix of different creators, energy with some typography. So this is something we just did for Good Culture.
Let's see you move like this.
I am a cottage cheese girl.
It's perfect right out the package.
It's so good and everything.
It's creamy, it has clean ingredients.
There's nothing artificial in it.
No sugar.
We hit the jackpot.
It's such a good way to add some extra protein into your meals.
You're not doing this.
So you get the point, right? It's all great UGC, chopped up, put through that. My business partner, Adam, puts out a weekly newsletter. This is a link to it. It's free. It has some incredible insights from the brands that we are working with, growing, and doing. Also, I think this links out to my contact information. It's always the most depressing part of the whole thing because I look out and there's like one guy who already has my contact information taking a picture. Thank you. And I also just want to really say thank you to the sponsors. Like, they're what helps make this a free event. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, I will say what's nice is like they sometimes you come to an event and it's like 90% providers, everything. There's a room full of people operating brands, CMOs, VPs, marketing managers, and the people that are here that are from those softwares, we're really using them. They really work. So thank you for having me.